Hello and welcome to another melodramatic episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. Ooh, honey, if this is your first time dipping it and doing it mayhem style, hey, Sugarfoot, I'm so glad you're here. Ooh, and just so you know, Melanin Mayhem brings you the stories of some of the most diabolical, heinous, and downright audacious serial crimes committed by some melanated masterminds that you probably never heard about. The overarching reason that I bring y'all these stories is because I'm trying to dispel this myth in our community that there are certain types of crimes that black people just don't commit. Cause baby, that's a bald-faced ass lie, and it's fucking us up cause these serial shysters are getting away with this foolishness and fuckery because nobody is checking for them. But baby, I put them on blast so that you are up on game and know how to protect yourself. Well, now that we have done a proper introduction, my crew, the sugar that sweetens my tea, ooh, the fabulous Noor Nation. What's happening, crime cousins? Ooh, I'm so glad that y'all are here. Man, time is flying by. We gonna look up and it's gonna be Thanksgiving and Christmas, but not before Virgo season is celebrated properly. Y'all might as well get ready to hear something about my birthday for the next 6 weeks because woo child, this is a big one and I am crunk, honey. Finally figured out what I wanted to do for this milestone birthday, and baby, the country girl will be bringing in the big one in the Mediterranean, baby. Cruising and choosing. Watch out now. Y'all gonna be sick of me, but since you love me so much, you'll just look at me and shake your head and smile because you know how we do. Now, there are other travel plans on the schedule as well. So when I tell you I have been researching my ass off getting stories together to pre-record and get them scheduled, man, my eyes are strained and crossing because I've been at my desk in front of these screens. It feels like nonstop, but it's all worth it though because I cannot leave my babies hanging. So my gift to you for my birthday is to make sure that you have your regularly scheduled doses of mayhem just the way you like them. So, as far as church announcements go, I'm still pumping these crime cocktails and canvas tickets for the BTCC live event October 18th right here in Atlanta. You can find the link for the tickets and the hotel accommodations in the podcast show notes for this episode. It's also on the social media pages under posts as well as upcoming events. And guess what? If you still can't find it, just send me a DM or email and I will personally send you the link. Don't forget that your Melanin Mayhem merch can be copped over there at melaninmayhempodcast.com. So, with that being our last announcement for this week, let's go on ahead and get on with what we came to do. So I just want to say off top, I normally stay away from stories about people whose cases have not been completed. But there are a couple of diabolical stories that I have come across, and the more I tried to ignore them, the more they was just haunting me. And, you know, one or two of the Noor Nation told me that, you know what, Nay, this your picnic and you can put whatever you want on the menu. So I figured I can bring you the most heinous of these types of cases and then maybe do a follow-up episode, kind of like a what happened to they ass episode. I feel comfortable in these ones that I will be bringing to you that it is a certainty that these motherfuckers gonna get what's coming to them. Like, I would not bring you anything that I am not convinced is gonna end in a life or a death sentence. And if by chance these motherfuckers skate on a technicality, well, we'll just have to cross that bridge when and if we get to it. But guess what? I have an update. By the time I had gotten ready to record this episode, there was a conclusion that came in for this particular case. So we'll just keep this PSA up for the future cases that I'm going to be bringing to y'all, okay? So, with that being said, the motherfucker I got for you today is a booger bear for sure. I mean, the fuckery and the gassity of it all is mind-blowing. When I tell you my flabber is gasted, I just had to talk it over with y'all, because it's another one of them situations that black people don't supposed to find themselves in, but yet and still, here we are, and guess what? It's really not the first time. No, it's more like the newest version of some shit that we done already seen. Y'all remember the DC Sniper episode and how we were all shocked and amazed to find out that they was black? Well, today I'm gonna tell you about a single shooter that had Memphis, Tennessee shooketh. Ooh, and you know what? Sniper might not be the right term. He was a shooter for sure, and he was letting that thing ride. I mean, anybody could get it, and several did indeed. Memphis watched in real time as our mayhem maker turned the city into his personal hunting ground. I need to start a series, I think. You know, kind of like how I said I was going to do the Death Row Divas. I need to start a series called the Carjackings because, man, these YNs is out here just wilding. And this little motherfucker we going to talk about today, he ain't even old enough to get a drink at the bar yet. But here he is on a one-day crime spree causing all kinds of mayhem. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and drag this motherfucker to the front of the congregation for a proper accounting for this foolishness. This week's Melanin Mayhem maker is Mr. Ezekiel Kelly. All right, my loves, let's go on ahead and get into it. Now, even though this case is relatively fresh, we don't know anything about this little nigga other than the fact that he was born October 14th, 2002. No idea who his mama and daddy were. All I do know is that they deserve a proper ass dragging too, because this little motherfucker been a whole ass criminal for most of his life. Now, I'm going to tell you, he was a mess as a minor, like he was in and out of juvie. And then he really jumped off the porch at like 17 years old, kicking wide open the doors of the criminal shenanigans. And again, I don't know how long he had been running the streets, but clearly he had been with the shits for a minute. Let me tell you, he was out there collecting charges like how they was giving away them Obama phones. Now, we know for certain that this little motherfucker was charged in February of 2020 with attempted first-degree murder, aggravated assault, employing a firearm with intent to commit a felony, and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon. All of this is in February of 2020. Now, I don't know what the fuck he actually did because the case is sealed, but we can infer from these charges that he was on some trying to disconnect somebody's water type of bullshit, right? And those are serious charges for a goddamn 17-year-old. And at first, they had him in juvie court because, again, he was 17. But shit, them some grown man ass charges. He want to be Billy Badass. They should have treated him accordingly. And so they did. They moved his little ass over to grown folks criminal court. And you would think that meant that they were gonna handle this little business, right? But oh no. We love to let a violent motherfucker slide. And his punk ass got played down to just the aggravated assault charge in April of 2021. Like, the fuck? They gave him 3 years, but he only did 11 months. Baby, he popped back up on the scene March 16th, 2022. 11 months for what was thought to be attempted murder? That just don't sound right. Not even on paper, much less in real life. Like, who the fuck thought that this was a good idea? Because please understand, if he a shenan like this at 17, you know damn well he gonna shenan again and again and again. And baby, this time he was gonna show his whole ass. Now, clearly, he was missing prison because 6 months after he got out, he crashes the fuck out. The date all of this goes down, September 7th, 2022, the day he went on a day-long crime spree. It all started in Berkeley, a neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee, when shots rang out around 1 a.m. So this is right after midnight, so the very early part of September 7th. Now, a 24-year-old man named Dwayne Tunstall, father of one with another one on the way with his girl. Oh, Dwayne, he worked in construction. That was his main hustle. But he also had an entrepreneurial side, and he was about to open a food truck with his homie, dude named Marcus. Now, Dwayne and Marcus, they wanted to give back to the community. So their food truck had a goal of also incorporating feeding the homeless for free. But you know, in order to be able to do some free shit like that, they needed to get some cash flowing. So, you know, they would pull up and open up shop around the city, selling plates out the house or anywhere else they could slang a plate, right? So, okay, this particular night, or should I say early morning on September 7th, Dwayne and Marcus, they posted up slanging plates. Well, Ezekiel pulls up and he places an order. Now, Dwayne was shooting the shit with like 3 other people outside a house on the 3100 block of Lindale Avenue. And the next thing you know, Dwayne is on the pavement, shot in the head. Oh my Lord. Now, according to the witnesses, they didn't trade words. It wasn't no smoke. I mean, it was just a real chill moment. 1 minute, they kicking it with the homies, and the next minute, Dwayne is communing with Black Jesus. Ezekiel done made this hard-working man, a man that want to give back to his community, not take away from his community. Dwayne has been made an ancestor. And all 3 of the witnesses are able to tell the police who did the shooting. Well, so with this Berclair shooting, I'm going to tell you, the police are just thinking that this might be just a one-off case of some random hood shit. I mean, I'm just saying, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. It ain't really many places open where a food truck can have access to customers or, they want a little something to eat other than, after the club or maybe a cat house or some shit like that. But when they get a little alcohol in them, some of us act a little bit of a fool. So I can see the thought process. But later on that same day, the police would realize that this was some other type of criminaling that was going on. And while we don't know exactly what Zeke was up to for the next few hours, my guess is that he went to sleep because he was going to need his strength for what he had up his sleeve. Oh, baby. Next up, in his warpath, he heads to South Memphis, just throwing random bullets in the air for anybody to catch. And at 4:38 p.m., he shot the shit out of 62-year-old Richard Clark. Now, Mr. Richard Clark was just sitting in his car at a gas station on the 900 block of South Parkway East. Now, this man is literally sitting at a pump, probably just trying to decide, am I going to fill it up or just put a couple of dollars in to get me from point A to point B? And now he dead and gone because this little crash out young nigga on some bullshit. But guess what? Zeke is not done. Oh no, he is heading south, and 2 minutes later, he shoots a lady in her leg several times somewhere by Norris Road and I-240. Now, I gotta tell you, anybody that was not killed, their names were not included in the press. It was only described as a male or a female. So I can't tell you the victims that lived. I can't tell you their names, but let's just be happy and thankful that they are still in the number one more time, even if we cannot say their names. So from here, he's jumped on the interstate, and his next stop is Nutbush, Tennessee. Y'all know about Nutbush, right? Baby, that's the birthplace of the diva herself, Miss Tina Turner. She put us on the Nutbush back in the day. Nutbush city limits. I don't know. That's all I know from the movie. What's love got to do with it? Check it out. Well, this is where this dusty ass little crash out nigga headed to next. And at 5:59 p.m., he shot somebody in the 400 block of Jackson Avenue at the goddamn AutoZone. Now, can you imagine it? You just trying to get parts for your whip. A motherfucker just walk in and haul off and shoot the shit at you for no good reason. Just diabolical. And he didn't just shoot this man. Oh no. This motherfucker streamed this shit live on Facebook as he was doing the shooting. Like, woo, child. This man must have had a praying grandmother. Cause baby, Zeke shot him several times in his chest. Like, first and foremost, shooting innocent people at random is just wrong. Full stop. But if you must, it's just on today's to-do list. You got to put a piece of hot lead in somebody. What you ain't supposed to do is film this shit and broadcast it to the world. I swear, y'all, social media is the worst thing that could have happened to a dumbass criminal. Y'all ain't even gonna make the police work for it no more. You're just doing all the work for them. Snitching on yourself. Ooh, Jesus be a fence, honey. And like I said, in true youngster fashion, he just cannot stay off of social media. In addition to posting this shooting, he's been posting and going live and bragging about the shit he been doing all fucking day. Now he threatening to come to different places and let that switch fly. And once the word got out, his people started reposting his shit. So the business is all over the streets now. Everybody on the lookout. So he leaves Nutbush and now he's headed back towards Memphis. He back on Facebook Live and telling them, hey, y'all get ready in Memphis because I'm coming for some mayhem. So I gotta tell you, the police for their part, they were trying. Like, they are blocking off intersections. They shut down the buses. Although I don't know why you shut down the buses. Zeke wasn't taking the bus to do these shenanigans, but it was all in the name of keeping people safe. And I'm with that, Memphis PD. I'm with that all day long. But you got to understand, New Orleans Nation, that this shit was so wild what Zeke was doing that by 7 p.m., the city of Memphis was put on lockdown. I'm talking the whole ass city. Stay your ass in the house. You cannot come outside because this young nigga is out here wilding the fuck out. And shit, Ezekiel had put it out that he was headed to Memphis to fuck up anybody he saw. And so, knowing that he has been on a spree all day, Memphis PD was on some, let's keep everybody as safe as we possibly can. Again, I ain't mad at that. I am not mad at that because, baby, safety was in short supply because Zeke is about to do a 2-for-1 on their ass. Oh, honey, Ezekiel needed some more wheels, right? So he jacked a 38-year-old woman named Allison Parker for her car at around 723 in the North Evergreen Popular Avenue area in Midtown. Now, Allison did not survive. She was killed, and Ezekiel done stole her car, a gray SUV. But he ain't done. I told you this was a 2-for-1. 1 minute later, he shoots a man right up the street from where he just jacked Allison from her car. Like, this is at like McLean and Popular, right? It's still in Midtown, right across the way from where Allison just lost her life. Baby, police pull up on the scene deep as fuck, but they still too late to catch Zeke, but just in time to see how much carnage he just left behind. So once again, they blocking off the streets. They got Popular blocked off. They got, McLean is blocked off. And now they trying to figure out what kind of car he's in now. But clearly he don't care nothing about jacking somebody for a car. So the police are still not able to get in front of this maniacal motherfucker. And guess what? He is still on Facebook talking cash shit. Now, this car is hot because they know Allison just lost her life and her car is missing. So Zeke got to get some new wheels. He carjacks another lady for her Challenger a few minutes later around 8:56 p.m. over on State Line Road in US 51 in South Haven, Mississippi. Now, understand, New Orleans Nation, where Memphis is situated, Mississippi is a hop, skip, and a jump away. So it's really like riding down the street and you crossing state lines. So Zeke is now driving a gray Dodge Challenger. And shit, y'all, he got a muscle car. And that motherfucker got some get up and go to it. And that's exactly what Zeke did. He got up and went. So, understand now. Again, the police have been busy all damn day. All different jurisdictions and the state patrol. Now we are involved the Mississippi police. They know it's Ezekiel, but it's like playing a game of whack-a-mole trying to catch this little bastard. He keeps switching cars and popping up in places that they can't keep up with. I mean, he don't mind putting some miles on it because Nutbush is pretty far away from Memphis. Like, it's like an hour away. But what they decide to do is they're going to go on ahead and get the administrative shit out the way while they're waiting to try to trap this nigga. So they issue a warrant for his arrest for the first-degree murder for Dwayne, right? Now, when he jacked that last lady's car, oh, baby, they was able to pin that ass down, honey. Now he taking the police on a high-speed chase. And it was a long one, too. Now, not OJ long, but damn near 45 minutes. I'm just saying, that's a long-ass time to be hauling ass from the police. But, baby, the police was not gonna miss them this time. Oh, no, honey, they got that ass. This crashed-out young nigga was in cuffs by 9:30 that night. They did a pit maneuver on his ass in Whitehaven, Tennessee. So, now that Ezekiel is off the street, MPD, they lift the lockdown. Y'all can go on ahead and be outside again. And I don't know exactly how they pulled this shit off, but by 10:30, an hour after he was in custody, Ezekiel's Facebook profiles was shut all the way down. Your ass won't be posting shit else, nigga. And when the dust settled, this 19-year-old meth-mouth degenerate son of a bitch had killed 3 people and left 3 more with additional holes than what they started the day out with in their body. One of these people was in critical condition. But of course, Ezekiel is in custody, and baby, there will be no bail. You will be sitting that ass all the way down. So, 2 days later, Ezekiel Kelly is standing in front of Judge Karen Massey. And ooh, honey, he looking sicker than a motherfucker now. Oh, you ain't got no bug now. Wait a minute. Just a few days ago, you was the baddest motherfucker in Memphis, baby. Oh, you was big talk, big game. Now you quiet as a church mouse. Oh, head all down, tail tucked between your legs. Oh, you ain't got no fight in you no more, huh? Okay. That should have do it to you when you started sobering up. So they scheduled Zeke for a preliminary hearing on September 27th, 2022. But here's the thing. At this point, Zeke is just charged with Dwayne Tunstall's murder. And that's what this particular prelim is for. But they know that they've got more charges to add to him. So instead of him going to court on the 27th, they convened a grand jury on the 28th of September to add some additional charges to a new docket. So now, they done had a little time to think on all the shit that he undid and hold his punk ass accountable for his actions. Oh, baby, they held him accountable to the tune of like 26 more charges. Baby, let me run down this grocery list of charges they hit his little degenerate ass with. Deep breath. First degree murder, 3 counts. Reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon, 6 counts. Possession of a weapon by a felon. Attempted murder, 4 counts. Employing a firearm in a dangerous felony. Use of a firearm as a deadly weapon. Aggravated assault. Aggravated attempted carjack, using a firearm with the intent to commit a felony. 4 counts of that. Carjacking, theft of property, $10,000 to $60,000. That was for somebody's car. Evading arrest, theft of property, possession of a prohibited weapon, commission of an act of terrorism, and a partridge in a pear tree. Man, they threw every charge on the goddamn books at this little nigga, and I still think they had room. I think they left some shit off. So Zeke is now back in court on October 4th to plead not guilty to them 26 goddamn counts that they just threw at him. Cause, woo, child. Let me tell you something, Zeke. You was live on Facebook, honey. You can plead not guilty all you want, but we know you did it. Why the fuck is you wasting everybody's time with this not guilty shit? But still, at this point in time, he's got 2 different cases. Dwayne's case and then everybody else's. And at this point, the DA is a man named Chris LaRoe. And he is doing what he need to do to get all of Zeke's shenanigans under one docket. But until the legal red tape is worked through, it is what it is. Now, Ezekiel has got a court-appointed attorney for all this shit. Her name is Jennifer Case. And Jennifer is trying her best to minimize the attention on Zeke and throw doubt by saying, you know what? The stories from the witnesses don't match up. This is what she was saying when they was back in court 2 weeks later for a preliminary hearing on Dwayne's murder. Jennifer was like, look, everybody up in that bitch say they had a gun. And didn't nobody see Zeke shoot except for Marcus. And shit, y'all know eyewitness testimony is sus than a motherfucker. And so they bring in witnesses, right? The 3 dudes, which were his good friend Marcus, and then the other 2 dudes. Now, the 2 dudes, they say they didn't see Zeke shoot anybody. They just heard the pop and saw Dwayne fall. Then she brought up, Ezekiel was on that shit, ain't it? And had them same witnesses testify to that. Apparently, Zeke was on that ice, a.k.a. crystal meth and Molly. Really, nigga? Meth? Y'all need to go back to the OG drugs. Like, who's selling crack? You ain't never seen a crackhead shoot up some shit or somebody. If they got a gun, they gonna sell that motherfucking gun. They're not gonna use the gun. But these meth heads, they scandalous as fuck. I mean, when it's bad, it's fatal. They aggressive. Crackheads, the most they gonna do is rob you blind if they get the chance. I mean, shit, as long as you don't leave them unattended in your shit, you fine. They might beg you to death, but harmless criminality. That's what that is. But these motherfucking meth heads, shit. Y'all remember Dave Chappelle had a whole joke on one of his specials about these dope fiends. They turn into zombies. I mean, what makes a motherfucker want to do meth? I mean, yeah, it make you happy for a second, so I heard, but then it turns you into the Walking Dead for life. Like, what kind of person be like, ooh, I want my teeth to rot out my mouth, and ooh, I want to scratch like I got a bad case of the crabs because I keep seeing bugs crawling on my skin that ain't really there. And ooh, now that I'm scratching so much, I got all these open sores because your skin don't heal right no more once you start smoking meth. I mean, man, get the fuck out of here. I just don't understand it. Ugh. Don't do dope. Don't do meth. Please, just smoke weed. That's my PSA for today. But anyway, that's not the point. Zeke's lawyer is getting them all to admit that Zeke was on that shit. He was acting a little off, and he wasn't sleeping. Now, the prosecution was like, So they got Marcus up there because Marcus, he said he saw all the shit go down. And Marcus testified that Zeke and 2 of his friends showed up at his house. They bought some plates. Zeke bought 2 plates. $15 each. Say Zeke paid for his shit and ate his shit. He paid his money to Dwayne. Now they out there showing off the food truck, just shooting the shit. Ain't nobody arguing. And the next thing you know, the shooting is happening and everybody is diving for cover. Marcus said that he saw Zeke shoot Dwayne and he thought that he was gonna be next because he was standing right next to Dwayne. Marcus said the only reason Zeke is still breathing is because he didn't have his shit on him. And I ain't mad about that, Marcus. I mean, fight or flight. But every time you had your piece be still on you, I would expect nothing less than for you to put that nigga down. But you know what? God is good because we got his ass. We got his ass. Well, at this preliminary hearing, Judge Massey has heard all that she needs to hear, and she finds that there is enough evidence to put Ezekiel in front of a jury for Dwayne Turnstile's murder. Well, so y'all know that Zeke is fucked up in Tennessee. But remember, he had dipped cross state lines and jacked that lady in South Haven, Mississippi. And Mississippi wasn't feeling that just let this shit ride just because you got a shitload of charges in Tennessee. Oh, no, baby. We need to get our lick back, too. And so on November 17th of 2022, South Haven got in line to get their piece of Zeke's ass by charging him with receiving stolen property, armed carjacking, and possession of a firearm as a felon. Ooh, honey, shit getting worse and worse for Zeke. Remember I told you he had that little preliminary hearing in October, and the DA at the time was a dude named Chris LaRue. Now, Chris is still there. He's still on the case. But now they got a new DA in Shelby County, and his name is Steve Mulroy. And baby, Steve is out to make a name for himself, and he about to make a big example out of Zeke's doped up, crashed out ass. On March 23rd, 2023, he announced his plans was to cut this little nigga water completely off. Oh yes, honey. Death penalty all day, baby. And this motherfucker was new on the job, and he was ready to do it big then. But the crazy part about it is that since forever, like this man's background, Steve Mulroy, the new DA, his whole background, most of his political life has been that he is an outspoken opponent against the death penalty. But Zeke's crimes were so audacious, so diabolical, that it made a man who didn't even believe in the death penalty do a 180. Baby. Now, this shit dragged on for months. And every few months, they would haul Zeke's ass back into court to check in and see where everybody was on the case. And somewhere around August 12th of 2024, they back in court. And now Zeke has new lawyers because Jennifer has jumped ship, which is another reason that this shit is moving like molasses. Now, his new court-appointed attorney, a man named Michael Scholl, he's with the public defender's office, and he tells the judge that, you know what, I'm just about done reviewing all the evidence, and now what I'm working on is getting some experts to come in here to court and tell a couple of lies for us at trial, and we almost ready to get this thing going. Now, Chris LaRue, the DA, he was like, man, come on, Your Honor. It's been almost 2 years since this shit went down. We need to get on the good foot and put this thing to bed and stop letting them drag out the inevitable. But you know what? They went on that. Ain't nothing speedy about this trial. They set a new date for July 14th for Ezekiel to crank up the jury. This is July 14th of 2025. This year, right? But you know, ain't nothing ever simple or on schedule when you dealing with the court system or a crashed out dope fiend ass young nigga. And in February of 2025, this punk ass, puss ass little boy fires his attorney and says that he gonna represent himself. Just young and dumb. Don't know shit about nothing in life, but yet you about to try your first death penalty case. Fine, honey, let's do it. I don't care. It's your right to be a fool. But you know, he ain't want to do that shit for real. He just wanted to play in everybody's face because the following month, he was back talking about, you know what? I think I'll take a lawyer, please. So they bring back the exact same lawyer that he just fired, and now they back in court on May 26, 2025, talking about they need more time. Ugh, I can't. I mean, ain't shit changed since the last time y'all was on the case last month. You was just in court in August of 2024 telling the judge that you was almost ready. You mean to tell me that 6 months later you still ain't good? Man, see, that's why I couldn't be no lawyer. Ain't nobody got time to be kicking this can down the road again and again and again. Them folks been dead for almost 3 years, and the motherfucker that did it been in custody since the day it went down. I'm just saying, somebody should just shank this nigga and let's just get on with it. I mean, god damn. Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to tell you, it was looking kind of shaky because as of June 1st of 2025, Ezekiel still didn't have a court date set. So while he was just cooling his heels at the county, the surviving victims and the family of those that were killed were still just waiting for justice. And that's just some bullshit. Ooh, some fuckery of the highest levels of fuckticity. I'm just saying. But oh, baby, August 2025 rolled around and finally, y'all, this thing came to a head when Zeke pussy ass pled guilty to all 28 counts against him on August 13th. That was just last week. Remember I told y'all in the beginning, this case that I was bringing y'all wasn't settled? Well, it wasn't, but Houston, we have a conclusion. The judge accepted Ezekiel's plea and sentenced him to 3 life sentences to be served consecutively plus 221 years in exchange for taking the death penalty off the table. Ooh, honey, so that means he can die 3 times, come back reincarnated, and this motherfucker still got 221 years to do. Let me tell y'all, I'm gonna post a picture. This nigga looks sicker than a motherfucker in that courtroom when they gave him that sentence. It's too late now. But of course, he all remorseful in all this bullshit. He trying to place blame on him living in poverty and having been raised by the streets. Let me tell y'all what this nigga said in court. This is a direct quote. "There's nothing I can say to bring nobody's family back, but we all gotta live with this. I was in the darkest place of my life when this occurred. The time I've been here in 201, God came to me. I didn't want it to happen like this. It changed my life. Something that changed my life and caused me to change. I didn't see no life the way I was living. I wasn't living in the righteous path. I do apologize to the victim's family. I hope one day you'll find it in your heart to forgive me." End quote. Nigga. You know what? I think it's crazy because somebody put something on the private Facebook page, or maybe it wasn't a private page, one of the pages for Melanin Mayhem, and it was something about the death penalty and people finding Jesus. And I replied, why is it that these motherfuckers don't find Jesus until they facing a life or a death sentence? I mean, folks been trying to get your dumb ass to church for a long time, but while you was free and committing fuckery and foolishness, you wasn't studying black Jesus. Now you claiming you on the main line with him. Man, get the whole fuck out of here. I ain't nobody trying to hear that. Fuck you and your apology, nigga. Ezekiel Kelly, though, is headed to prison for the rest of his motherfucking life. Now, this shit just happened last week, so he ain't even been processed in yet. I could only find his previous conviction from 2022 when he was inmate number 006285539. And I'm thinking, ain't no need in coming up with a new number. Just recycle that number and let that shit ride. Either way, this little punk-ass super criminal and murderer that murdered senselessly gonna be locked up for the rest of his natural life. Good motherfucking riddance. And please, Ezekiel, if you listening, drop the soap, nigga. I'm just saying, this don't make no sense, y'all. And I'm really, really feeling it. Because plea deals have real consequences. I mean, I get it. The family of the criminal, I get that you want leniency for your loved one because you can only see the good that was once there, or you are willfully looking the other way on some shit that your people is getting into. Either way, that mercy only benefits the family of the criminal. And if it's a one-time fuck up that's not violent, I am not opposed to a little leniency, again, for non-violent offenses. But if we talking about repeat behavior or violence against another human being that was not self-defense, fuck all that leniency shit. Repeat offenders need to be locked up. They shouldn't be able to get a plea deal. Your first time should be your last time. And again, this is for non-violent first-timers. That's your grace. We're going to show you a little piece of mercy, but don't fuck around and find yourself in a handcuff and a judge type of situation again, okay? Now, for the violent first-timers, and again, any repeat offenders, baby, we ain't got nothing but big dick energy on the sentences. No Vaseline, just bang, 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 bang. Yes, honey, to the wall, balls to the wall. Now, I'm just saying, because think about it. If Ezekiel had been in prison serving his full sentence for feloniously trying to kill somebody back in 2020, he would not have been on the streets of Memphis September 7th, 2022. Pleading him down to a lesser charge is what set in motion the deaths of 3 and forever changed the lives of 3 more people that thankfully survived. And as much as I am an eye for an eye kind of girl, y'all, I'm beginning to think that life in prison is unfortunately the better option, because the amount of work that goes into a death penalty case, it gives the defense, in my opinion, the opportunity to drag the start of the trial out indefinitely. And if you add to that a degenerate criminal that's on the hook playing games like firing their attorneys, that just adds more time to the case, because a new attorney for sure has got to get up to speed. And if they are starting from scratch every time, again, this just draws this out further and further. Y'all see what I mean? And then not to mention that once you finally finally get them bastards tried and convicted. The automatic appeals process that drags the killation out even further. I mean, realistically speaking, when the appeals start, on average, these condemned motherfuckers hang out another 20 years. I mean, that's a long ass time. You know I go down a rabbit hole when I find these statistics and whatnot. There was a man here in Georgia, only looking for the black ones. His name was Brandon Jones, and he spent 36 years and 4 months on death row before he was executed. He was convicted in 1979, and they didn't cut this motherfucker's water off until February 3rd, 2016. This man was 73 years old, older than a motherfucker. And side note, they couldn't even get a vein because his ass was old. Them shits was collapsing. They ended up putting the IV in his groin because his arms and his legs were not cooperating. But you know what? Now that I think about it, if we're gonna keep this death penalty shit going, I think they need to put that needle in the vein of a dick every time. Like, I know, that's that Old Testament coming out of me, but I still think it's a good idea. Shoot them in their dick. I mean, make it as painful as possible. There's a big ass vein that run down it. Okay, not the point. Moving on. Who knows how long it will be before Ezekiel, really comes to terms with his sadistic crimes. I mean, because for one whole day, he terrorized the citizens of Memphis. He killed and he maimed without conscience, just randomly shooting hard-working people because he was on one. His life was over before it even started, and that's just a waste. And we ain't even touched on this, but where the fuck was his parents? I mean, he been a whole ass problem since a young age. Where were the adults in his life? See, he was a problem, but the state wants people who can't be a parent to be a parent. Zeke ain't the only teenager, young adult running around this motherfucker wilding out in a revolving door of criminality. The parents lost control or didn't give a damn or whatever the reason this young man fell through the cracks. And as a community, we need to start having some conversations on that shit too. But today ain't the day, and Melanin Mayhem is not the platform. But we can dig into it on social media. Y'all know y'all can find me on IG, YouTube, and Facebook as Melanin Mayhem Podcast. And on X, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. You can tell me what you think about this foolishness and fuckery right then and there. And honey, if email is more your jam, I'm with that too. You can hit me up at melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Now, this week's New Orleans Nation shout out is going to someone who posted on Apple Reviews. This is for Von Gretchen. And like I said, Von Gretchen left a review on Apple, and it was so sweet that I was like, oh, hearts all around. Vaughn said the title of the review is Appreciation. Baby, I have to give you your flowers. I don't know you, but I swear you one of my best friends now. I haven't stopped listening since I came across browsing the true crime section on Apple 4 days ago. Thanks for telling these stories about us and for us. Baby, Vaughn, I got you, boo. Thank you for your kind words, baby, and thank you for taking the time out to leave a review. The country girl sure do appreciate you, honey. And you know what? Just like that, we find ourselves at the end of another episode. So y'all know what I got to do. I got to get on over here in the kitchen and do what I do to season this thing up for you. But you know, this week I will be back on Friday with a new episode of Love Kills. Until then, y'all keep sharing me in the group chat, and I love you for listening. So as we get ready for the benediction, y'all know what it is. I need you to stay safe, and I really need you to be vigilant about your surroundings. And remember this and take it to heart, honey. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. It's one love, New Orleans Nation, and the country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that.